Hello friends, how are you guys today? It's great to see you. I hope everyone is well and happy, and I hope that you're training and that your school is going well if you are active in your training. And I hope your martial art career is going well and that you're discovering new insights as we do here. I have a lot of questions from the internet that have come in, and we haven't done a Q&A in about a month and a half or so, so I'll get through these as quick as I can, so sit back and relax. Red Knife asks, "Hi Sensei Norcross, where were you born? When did you open your dojo, and how long have you been training?" Red Knife, I was born in Massachusetts in a small town called West Bridgewater, which is between Boston and Cape Cod. You know, Cape Cod is a big arm, and Boston is here, this Plymouth. It's in the middle of that, so about 20, 30 miles from Boston, somewhere around there. I had a great childhood. The best that one really could ask for. Great friends, great family. Most of my family still lives there, and I go home to visit when I can. When did you open your dojo? We opened in 2006, 2007, this dojo. Before that, I was up in Dayton working with Mr. Hayes up there. But we opened here. We started the work in 2006 and officially opened January 1st, 2007. And we've been going ever since. How long have you been training? I started training when I was about 10, 1980. So that's a long time ago. I started with karate in Massachusetts, and then I found ninjutsu around the same time, around 1980, 81. Went to my first seminar when I was about 14 years old. Back then there was no internet, no computer really. So all we had was books. So if you found a book on whatever martial art it was, you had to find out in the back of the book where the seminar was being held, and then you had to write and pay for the seminar. Even back then, the seminar would have been $300, $400 for a couple of days, and then you'd have to get airfare and travel there. That was the only way you could get this knowledge. It wasn't available. I'm always blown away at how easy the knowledge is to get now. If you live near a school and you're fortunate enough to be able to study, and say your training is, gosh, a couple $100 a month is cheap for this training compared to the thousands, tens of thousands I spent in the 1980s and 90s to get this training, traveling all over the world. So don't complain if your training is only $150 a month or something. That's really not a lot to ask for this type of rare and unique knowledge. But it's fun. Next question. Is it hard to get students when so many millennials and Gen Zs are too lazy to get out of the house? I don't agree with the way that question is. Here's the thing. You can't generalize entire generations of people. It's not smart. When you say all millennials, all Gen Xers, all this group, all that group, these people, they people, you're doing what's called a blanket statement, philosophy in it. It makes your argument sound weak, if you have any argument. It makes people shut you down. They're going to think that you're ignorant. So don't ever say all this generation is lazy or all that, because it just shows you don't know what you're talking about. Some, it's better to say some, and we can agree in any generation that you're going to label. Some people, yes, they're lazy. Some people are go-getters and winners. Some are losers, and that goes back to the baby boomers. Whatever generation you say, you're always going to have good and bad in the generation. I don't agree that millennials are lazy or Gen Zers are lazy. Some are, of course, but some are not. I have many students that are between the ages of, say, 12 and 30. Great people, go-getters, as studious as you can imagine, as passionate as you can imagine. Very good work ethic show up and stuff like that. So some are lazy, of course, and that's always going to happen. And you're inferring here that they don't get out of the house. Well, that's always going to happen. You're always going to have people that like to watch martial arts but don't want to put in the effort it takes to get any type of official ranking or they're never going to be good at it because they're too afraid to start and to finish. Or they do start martial arts and then they do quit because they are lazy, or again, it bursts their bubble, it crushes their dream when they see just how hard it is to get out on the mats and train day after day, thousands and thousands of hours, year after year without quitting. A lot of the young people I talk to nowadays, some of them do have an issue with commitment. They're very afraid to stick with anything, and therefore they bounce around, and then they become dabblers and they don't get good at anything. And then they wonder later why they're not good at anything. It's because you don't stick with it. So again, it doesn't matter your age, because older people are the same way. I know people in their 40s and 50s that come, try one class and quit because it's too difficult, too hard on their body, or they just thought it would be some sort of ninja school where we would sit around and learn how to make smoke bombs and talk about how to fight 10 people at once. Well, no, you have to get out in the mat and you have to sweat, and you're gonna be exhausted, and you're gonna be just all of your imagination will be crushed by reality of the hardness of training. And then those that can embrace that and say, wow, the training is difficult, but I'm going to still stick with it, those are the ones that ends up the winners. They end up the black belts. They end up the instructors of the future. But the martial arts is a great way, and anyone out there, it doesn't matter what style you are, knows how the martial art weeds out the weak people. It just does that. It's like a filter system. The ones that can't handle it leave and quit, and you weren't meant to be a star in the martial arts, so to speak. So that's how the system works, and it's been that way for generations. I didn't make it up. It's just the way it is, but I observe it every day because I have a full-time school, so I can see it actually happening. And people always ask me, Mr. Norcross, like, how do you predict who's going to stay and who's going to quit? It's impossible. All my friends that I talk to who own schools, all the same. They're all like, I cannot predict if little Johnny's going to stay or go, or little Sally's going to stay or go. Often the people that are the strongest end up quitting the first. They may be strong mentally or physically, but they can't handle the training. It's just too difficult. And then some that you think aren't going to last a week end up senior black belts because there's something in them that this is feeding. There's a void in their life. And this is filling it, which is wonderful because it did in my life. And they just don't know how to quit. They're just like, okay, I'm going to keep going. And then they get so much better and their confidence goes way up. And they're the ones that end up the leaders of the next generation. But sometimes the strongest people, I sometimes get these strong, young college guys that will come in and try a class because they've seen it in a movie. And then they get hit a few times, or they fall down 50 times in a night, and they're like, I can't do this. It's too hard. They're not mentally tough. So it's impossible, in my opinion, to predict who will stay and who will go. And that's cool because it keeps you from judging anybody. You don't judge anybody because you're like, hey, I have no clue who's going to get to black belt. Could be this person, could be that person. And out of 50 of you, you're lucky if 2 of you make it. And that's the reality. That's the statistical reality of it. It's really cool to observe in reality. Next question. Star Walker Force. That's a cool name. What is the number one reason so few get to high ranks in ninjutsu? And ninjutsu is spelled with a U, not an I. It's N-I-N, nin. And then jitsu is J-U-T-S-U, not I. Ninjutsu is the art of stealth. Why do so few get to high ranks? It's the same thing I just talked about. It's difficult. I remember watching movies and books as a kid and things, and then when I got to my first seminar, I realized how hard it was. There is a punch in the face there, and anyone who does jiu-jitsu or karate, even taekwondo, it doesn't matter. It's hard. It's a lot of rigorous physical training and mental, even more mental than rigorous. But if you have fun with it, it's never going to be too difficult for you to get good at. You have to trust your teacher, and you have to look around and be adopted by the people that are training. You have to become one of the family, so to speak, one of the group. And you have to let go of your ego and let go of your preconceived notions of what martial arts is about. Because it's not about what you see on YouTube or what you read in a book. It's just like any other study. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of, for me, excitement. It never, ever, ever should get boring, ever. There's too much to learn. There's too many faults in us that we're trying to fix. There are too many secrets to find and stones to unturn. But why do so few get high ranks? Because it takes forever. It isn't like you get a black belt after 4 years and you're done. When you earn your shodan, that's just the beginning. That's the first step. The problem with and a misconception in all martial arts is people think a black belt's the end, when it's actually the beginning. It's like being an artist and you get all these brushes and these paints and then you quit. You get a blank canvas, you're like, I don't want to paint anymore. Or as a musician, it's like I give you guitars and keyboards and a digital workstation and the best computer money can buy and the microphones, and you're like, yeah, but I don't want to sing anymore and I don't want to play guitar anymore. But I've taught you chords. Yeah, but I just want to know G, C, and D. I don't want to know any other chords. But there are so many chords out there. You don't want to learn like a G sus7 or a D minor is a beautiful chord, or an A minor or an F sharp. No, I just want G, C, and D, and that's it. And that's the same as martial arts. No, I just want to get my black belt and that's it. And then I'm going to go do soccer or something. Oh my gosh. You have the best sports car in the world and you're not going to take it out of the garage for a drive? No, I think I'm done with that. I'm going to move on to something else. Oh, that's what hurts as a teacher, is when you see brilliant martial artists disappear after black belt. It's like, oh, haven't I taught you enough about the fun that's in this training? And then so few get to high ranks. So many quit. And again, that's with every school, every club, every gym, every place you can imagine. Very few are ever going to make it. But that's what the system is about. You can't fight it, you just have to go with it. And those that do get the high ranks deserve it, because they've been around long enough. I would rather have one person who's a 3rd degree black belt in a martial art than 15 who are 1st degree, because that tells me nothing. It tells me nothing if you're a 1st degree. If you're a 5th degree, you've stuck with it so long, you really understand the art to get the secrets out of it. Dreadnought 22 says in a criticism, a sai is not a ninja weapon. It would not be used by a samurai. A sai is a truncheon. Yes, it was used by the samurai. It didn't look like a sai, but it was called a jute. Ju is in 10, Ji, Ju, 10, and Te is in hand. The power of 10 hands. It was a truncheon used by the samurai of Japan for many, many, many years. Yes, a sai in the form of the Okinawan sai was probably rarely seen then, but can you imagine back then if you had a 3-pronged trident? Wouldn't you use that in battle? I sure as heck would. If a sword was around, I would use a sai in a second. So don't limit yourself to what weapons you can use. That's kind of dumb. Don't limit yourself and say, I can't use a tonfa, because a tonfa didn't exist back then. Of course it did. It was a piece of wood to beat rice and stuff. A sai was a truncheon, and the jute did exist, and the samurai would have had it in their belt if they could. Any weapon on a battlefield. A stone is a weapon. You're going to say, well, can't use a stick and a stone. Cavemen used those, but a ninja didn't. Open your mind. Don't limit yourself to what weapons look like for them to be effective. Do you think a samurai would have used a 9mm pistol back then? Of course they would have if they had it. Or an Armalite rifle. Of course they would have used that if they had it back then. It would have made life a lot easier. They wouldn't have used a crude sword if they had an AR. So you have to just stop being so rigid with what you know. Let go of it. Let go of it. We train with the sai here on occasion because it's damn fun. And it's a great weapon and it teaches you a lot of principles. Why would I limit myself and say I'm not going to use this weapon because it's Okinawan or it's from this country or, whatever it might be? Let that go. If someone throws me a nunchaku, I'm going to use it. I'm not going to make fun of it because it's a Bruce Lee weapon or a Chinese weapon. Stop limiting that. Let that all go. Have fun. Liam from Santa Cruz, California. Do you teach Kuji ninja powers to your students? I did teach a Kuji last Monday. I taught a mudra and I said where it was on the chart and what it means and what the belief system behind it is. Now, do you think that I believe that entwining your fingers and saying something brings upon some supernatural powers to the ninja? Absolutely not. I've seen zero evidence of any of that working, and I have studied it for decades. And it's not because I'm a natural skeptic, it's because I don't see any evidence for it. If someone writes something down, that doesn't make it true. It makes it fun to explore, but most of it is mental games. If you entwine your fingers in some odd way, but you think that that's going to change reality for you, it may change your reality. So if I make a mudra, some sort of ninja magic here, and I close my eyes and I set up a reality, it may give you some sort of intentional power. You may do something and it gives you like, I'm going to go get that job. Here's my sword. Here's Rin, the power. Or To Sho Ka Jin Retsu Zaizen. You can say these things, but unless you're really going to mentally set yourself up to win, they're not going to do you any good. I don't care what type of mudra you create. It's not going to matter. And what you say won't matter. But if I say something and I think it and I follow up with action, see? It is magical. It becomes reality. It becomes what I'm going to get in life. But you don't need a hand signal or a voice to do it. All you need is your mind and your intention. And a will not to quit. And you need to know how to fail to succeed over and over again. And it will come to fruition if you put in the time and the energy and the effort and the intelligence and the knowledge it takes to get there. But as far as ninja magic, no. There's no proof. And no, send me any video you can prove to me or any articles on this subject. I'm open to reading about it, but no, there's no magic in training. It's just damn hard work. It's just endless hours on the mat asking questions. And that's where the magic is. The magic happens because you're training so much. You become confident, so confident, not arrogant, but confident that you know you can accomplish your goals. But again, play around with it. See if it works for you. I have seen zero evidence for ninja Kuji powers existing. Yes, in history they exist, but so do 1,000 other things that don't hold up to testing and evidence. But if you can think about your goal and accomplish that, then there's all the magic you need. You don't need anything supernatural to make it work, in my opinion. Alex in Toronto, Canada. What is your favorite martial art movie? I did a video about that a year or two ago, so I would go search for that. I don't know. I have so many. The last great movie I saw, which I would put as great, like a 4 out of 5 stars, would have been 13 Assassins. That was a good movie. As far as like martial arts samurai movies go. But that was a while ago now. I don't know what year it came out, 2012, 14. That was a really good movie. Of course, it's ripped off Seven Samurai. They all do. Everything is rehashed, but the way it was produced and directed and acted was excellent. The fight scenes were good. The whole last half of the movie was a solid 25 minutes of samurai fight scene. A lot of it was unrealistic, but hey, what I liked about that movie a lot was how the samurai, even though he was working for a totally evil boss, a totally evil master, so to speak, he had to keep continuing to serve him. So the whole premise of the movie was there was this evil shogun's brother who was a mentally insane killer and ended up killing all kinds of innocent people. And the people around him knew he was insane and said he has to be stopped. He has to be taken out. So they go to another guy who's the good middle-aged samurai, and they say, we're going to hire you. I want you to do this mission, which is to take out, kill this, and assassinate this brother of the shogun, or the daimyo, whatever it was. So he found 12 other people, and there became 13 assassins, and they went to go assassinate this bad guy. But there was also a samurai who served this evil guy. And so the good guy, the good samurai and the bad samurai knew each other from dojo, from fencing school, from years ago. These were older, more powerful warriors, not young, but older. Middle-aged to old-aged men. And you had the bad service samurai guy and the good service samurai guy, and they knew each other. And throughout the movie, they meet. And they talk about, look, I have to serve my lord no matter how evil he is. This is what samurai means. It means to serve. And if I see you, I'm going to kill you. And the good guy's like, how can you serve this evil person? He's killing innocent people. And the movie is this tension between the two. And at the end, it all comes together. And it's just great the way that they wrote it and everything. Just a different way to take it. Because modern day people are like, this is barbaric. I would never serve this evil person. I would just leave. But the class system back then, the militaristic style, what was indoctrinated into you as a child was you had to serve your master no matter if they were evil or good. To your death, you had to do that. Nowadays, we see it as such an odd thing, but that was a good movie. So I'll leave it at that. It's a good rental. Sean in Austin, Texas. You have an awesome dojo. Thank you, Sean. Do you ever train in the forest outside of the dojo? Yes. Personally, I train a lot on my own. I believe solo training is still very important. I started in solo training when I was 10, and at age 49, I'm still solo training left and right. When I'm not here at the dojo, often I'll go walking at night, and I'll take a sword or a staff in my quiet neighborhood, and I practice. Because I want to stay sharp that way. But yes, I go into the forest. Sometimes I'll go off and meditate by myself. We have beautiful, this part of Ohio is stunningly beautiful with its forests and its rivers and lakes. It has everything. And then I can go to Kentucky, which is about an hour away to drive to mountains. Eastern Ohio has mountains. And we train when we can outside. We just finished a Naginata DVD, the Japanese polearm, where we went out back and trained for a couple hours in the hot sun, out in the field in the back. And that was a blast because you want to get outside of the dojo because that's not reality. So you want to get out and train on the tar and on the street and on hard surfaces and soft surfaces. And you want to trip and stuff in the mud. So when we trained with this seminar we filmed, people were falling and tripping on the bushes, and it's just an uneven terrain, and that's part of martial art training is you have to train in uneven terrain where you can fall and where you're taller than your opponent. You're on the top of the hill, or you're in a tree or something, or you're underneath your opponent at the bottom of the hill. How do I fight uphill? These are beautiful strategies of the samurai that you have to practice, that you don't get in sport martial arts. Only in the fighting battlefield martial arts you're going to get teachings about where to put the sunlight against the opponent, how to use the wind to your advantage, when to attack, what time of day or night, how to use the moon to your advantage, how to use nature to your advantage so that you can tell when someone's sneaking up on you, how to blend in with your environment. All of these things are what makes ninjutsu or samurai martial arts very unique in that. But yes, we do get outdoors and train. Not a day like today when it's going to be 95 out, because I don't want to go out in that weather. I'm too old for that. I did that when my 20s and 30s. I'd rather be in an air-conditioned dojo if I'm going to teach classes. But yes, we do get out. It's important to do that. Those of you out there who solo train, keep going. Keep doing that. Hey, Sensei Norcross. My name is Josh, and I'm a business student at UF, University of Florida, maybe. I'm a big fan of your channel, and my roommate watches you guys too. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate that. I train in jiu-jitsu at the school, but only 1 or 2 times a month. That's good. 1 or 2 times a month is better than 0 times a month, Josh. So you have jiu-jitsu at your college. That's great. In some videos, you are not wearing a belt. Is that intentional? What is the belt system colors? Yes, I don't wear a belt very often. That's just a choice I made about 15 years ago. I stopped wearing a black belt because I just thought it represented too much ego for anybody, and I'm always a beginner. I'm always a white belt. I'm always a no belt. And I believe that if you wear your black belt too much, it goes to your head, especially the more bars that you get. So I would get 6, 7 bars on my belt, and it just, to me, it looked too showy. It looked like I was bringing too much attention to what I knew. When you take your belt off, you realize how much you don't know. And the more you train, the more you realize how little you do know. So for me, I don't wear a belt as a symbol, and I don't encourage students or anything to wear. I want them to wear their belt because first of all, it holds your gi top shut, and you can put weapons in it and stuff. You can put your gloves on it. And it helps your lower back when you wear your belt because it does give you a little tension back there. It keeps yourself from hurting yourself. But no, I chose not to wear my belt many, many, many years ago. I get tired of the symbolism of it, and I'm the only one I know that doesn't wear a belt. And it's not to look cool or anything because you get made fun of about it, but no. For me, the belt just holds up my uniform. It doesn't serve me any purpose. I'm always a beginner. I'm always a student. No matter what rank I have or what degree I have, my name is my rank. I don't need a belt to show it to the world how many bars I have. I know how long I've been training. I know how many tens of thousands of hours I have. I don't need to show that off. This is a personal decision. I'm not saying anyone out there should do what I do. Don't copy me. Be your own person. But for me, I only wear the belt at graduations or when I have to use a weapon like a sword and I need to hold it. I'll put my belt on to hold it. Other than that, it holds no significance to me. Let's see. Baron von D, 1988. As a sensei of a large school, it must be hard dealing with so many students of all different ages. No, I don't think it's hard. It's challenging, but I love the students. What is the most frustrating things that students do, and how do you stay focused? I stay focused through my passion. Anyone out there who runs a business or does something that they've always wanted to do as a dream, as a living, you never take that for granted. So I've wanted to be a martial art teacher since I was 10, and I did it. I went through the proper channels and all of the proper teachers, and I learned what I needed to learn, and I got the money I needed to get, and I got the jobs I needed to get, got the education, and never stopped asking questions to those who were professional to learn how they did it. So as far as staying focused, that's very easy. I wake up in the morning excited to go to work. I wake up at 6 in the morning, and I'm at the dojo by 8:30 or 9. And I leave at 8:30 at night. So I'm here 12 hours a day, 4 days a week, and then I'm here 5, 6 hours a day on Saturdays. Every week, 300 and something days a year, year after year, decade after decade. I never get bored, never get tired, because there's so much to learn. So the focus for me is not something I have to think about. It just is there. It's always there. Because I love what I do and I want to be better at it, and I fail 1,000 times and I get up 1,010, and I continue to train and I continue to see the next generations learning what I used to learn, and we're refining our dojo, we're getting better, we're evolving constantly, we're changing techniques, changing the way we do things, we rip it apart. So focus is not an issue. What's frustrating about students? You're always going to have people that frustrate you, and that goes without saying. Any martial arts school owner out there knows how it is. It's hard because people come and go. What makes me sad is when people quit. I see talent, I see beauty in people, I see how good they are, how far they've come, and how much martial arts training has served them outside of the dojo. They're mentally stronger, they don't get depressed anymore, they don't get angry anymore. They're so physically and mentally strong that evil kind of is repelled away, and they have purpose in their life, and they find a new love in their life, and the martial arts is serving them. All these positive aspects, and then they leave for whatever reason. There's a million excuses why someone leaves. That just rips my heart out. Very sad when that happens. They may leave because they have to move. They have to get a job somewhere else, and that's a tough day when I have to give them that last hug. But most of the time, the frustration comes when they quit. They give excuses why they can't train. And I know they're lying. Gosh, I've heard every lie in the book times 10. Every imaginable excuse I've heard. And when you do it long enough, the excuses repeat, because they don't know that, hey, Johnny 3 months ago gave me the same excuse. And sometimes I'm just straight up. I'm like, that's not true what you're telling me. What's the real reason why you're quitting? Is it something I can help you with? Is it something we're doing? And chances are it's not the school, it's not the teacher, it's you, it's us, it's we as the person is failing ourselves. But I cannot handhold people for long. I can't. It would be an insult for me to baby you as a student and say, let me call you and text you left and right and come to your house and pick you up to come to training. Those days are over. I did that when I was 20 years old. When I was teaching at 25, I would press my nose to the window. Where's Mark and Mike and John and Ann and all them? They're supposed to be at the dojo, and only 2 of you are here, but there's supposed to be 5 coming in tonight, and you'd have these nose prints on the door, and you would do everything to keep Mike and whoever in the training. No, let them go. If they don't want to train, they're not meant to be here. Stop focusing on the students that aren't here and focus on the ones that are here is my philosophy. I am not going to email you if you quit. I'll email you once and say, hey, you coming back? If you don't answer, goodbye. I need to focus, going back to the question, on here and now. I can't focus on the past. And I'm sorry if that angers people out there. That's just too bad. I need to focus on who is here and now. As a teacher of martial arts, I owe it to those who show up to train. I do not owe anything. I owe nothing to those who quit. I owe nothing to those who used to train, who used to be active. I will hug you at the supermarket and be friends forever, but I'm not going to give you any more of my time as a teacher of martial arts in that realm. I will be a friend. I will help you when your tire breaks down, your car breaks down. If you need something, I will be there for you because we have that connection. But the connection was broken the minute that you walked out of the dojo as far as my martial attention to you. And I think every teacher out there agrees with this. It's not something radical. But we have to stop worrying. Students, don't frustrate me, because if you are here, I don't care how many questions you have or how hard of a time you're having learning. I will spend as much of my time as I can to help you. If you are hungry enough for the knowledge, I am going to stay late to help you. And I'm not going to charge you extra. I'm going to sit around with you and make sure you understand the principles. So I don't agree that they frustrate me. They don't. I love the students. Love them. I can't tell you how excited I get to see them drive up to come and train. Oliver, I can't afford to train, but I would love to be one of your students. Thank you, Oliver. And you're wrong, Oliver. You can't afford to train. Find a school in your area. Get a job that you can get. Find money. I say this all the time. Money is not hard to get in America. If you don't live in America, I apologize. We Americans can be arrogant and ignorant because we live in this ridiculous bubble where we think everything is like America. The world is huge and America is a small part. So as a proud American, who I think this is the best country in the world because I live here, I was born here, I'm going to die here. America, though, when you travel outside of America, you see how little America knows about the rest of the world. There are entire beautiful cultures out there that we know nothing about. So I apologize if you say I can't afford to train and you live outside of America. If you live in the U.S., you can get a job. You can. So as far as I can't afford to train, what you're doing, Oliver, and I'm guessing, of course, I'm guessing through my experience, is you're putting obstacles in front of you. Because I've seen this 1,000 times where people will say, I can't afford to train, so I'm not going to train. Well, what did you do yesterday? Oh, I played Fortnite. What did you do the day before? I binge watched Game of Thrones. Oh, what did you do before that? I went with my family to the beach. Okay, what did you do the day before that? I went to school in the morning for 2 hours. Okay, what did you do the day before that? I don't remember. What did you do the day before that? I think I mowed my lawn. Do you see where I'm going here? Time is available to us all. So, did you get a job to save the money to go train? No. Are you continuing your education to get a better job to have the extra income to train, which is a luxury training? No. Did you go outside of the house and seek out a job to go get the money to train? No. Well, then you see the problem. It's not that you can't train, it's that you don't want to train, it's that you're putting your priorities in a different order. Training for you is actually number 10, and playing Fortnite, watching those movies, and relaxing with your family is priority 2, 3, and 4. When you put your training, as I did at age 10, at priority 2 or 3 in my life, family first, health second. Training was third for me. It wasn't 10th, it wasn't 5th, it was third. Therefore, I arranged my life around the training. If I needed $250 a month to train, which it was what it would cost for unlimited training, I need 2 part-time jobs. I need to make this much per hour. I'm going to work a 3rd shift to do this. I'm going to sell this so that I can get money for that. I'm going to go rake leaves in the fall. I'm going to mow extra lawns in the summer. I'm going to shovel driveways in the winter because my training is that important. You see how I'm destroying these obstacles, these excuses? I'm not allowing that in my mentality. So Oliver, I appreciate that you'd want to be one of my students. Oliver, why aren't you one of my students? I have people that come from Kentucky, come 50 miles to train at our dojo. You, Oliver, can make it happen. If you want to be one of my students, save up the money and move to Mason, Ohio, and come join our family. You would be more than welcome. My point, Oliver, is there are schools, there are brilliant martial arts in your area. If you seek them out, they're probably there. You know, it might be in someone's garage or something, someone's basement. Who cares? Go and find a teacher. If you are hungry enough for the knowledge, nothing will hold you back. So you may be one of my students, Oliver. You have full permission, as does anyone watching this video. But you have to put in the effort and the time, and you have to change your life to make the dream come true. This isn't something new I'm saying. This is old stuff. Sal, have you ever met Unsui Manaka? Yes. Manaka runs the Jinin-kan. There are 3 kans in the ninja. There's Bujinkan, Jinin-kan, Jinin-kan, Genbu-kan. Manaka runs the Jinin-kan. He started in 1996. Yes, I started training with Manaka in 1987. I was 17 years old. And he came to Mr. Hayes' Warrior Quest seminars in Germantown, Ohio. We would go train outdoors at a campsite. Manaka was the first person I learned Bojutsu from. He taught me the 6-foot staff. Over several seminars and several years, Manaka would come back to the U.S. and I would learn with him and train with him in Dayton. He was in Maryland, trained there. When did he leave? I don't remember. He was in Maryland from 2001 to 2004. Manaka lived in the U.S., Unsui. because he wanted to teach more here. And then he moved back to Japan, I think in 2004. His organization's not very big, very strict. Love his teaching style. He's very classical. Was one of Hatsumi's original top students and one of his first students. I think he met Takamatsu, but he left Hatsumi. He didn't like the way the Bujinkan was going and felt it was being more watered down. And there may have been some more personal reasons why he left. I don't know. I didn't know him personally. But yes, I trained with him many times. Brilliant martial artist. Love him. He's one of my teachers. As far as a figurehead sensei, he is one of them. But I'm not a student of the Jininkan or Genbukan. But I've studied them extensively, and they're not unsimilar to the Bujinkan style. They're all very similar. But I use them as references constantly. Let's see. Juan Mendez from Tempe, Arizona. Sensei Norcross, I think you are the best teacher on the internet. Thank you, Juan. I'm not. No one I have seen ever takes the time to show details in various scenarios in their videos. I have learned a lot. Thank you, Juan. I appreciate that. I do tend to give a lot of detail to the students because that's what they want. It's easy to make videos of just random hitting, fast punching sword stuff and edit it together, but there's no depth there. You're just seeing images and you're not learning anything. You're just seeing someone perform something. I love the videos where we can take time in a class to spend 10, 20 minutes on one principle. That I find is the real depth of martial arts. And the teachers that attract me the most are the ones that aren't showing off, because usually the younger ones that are showing off don't have depth, so therefore they have to monkey it about with gymnastics and games and things like that. But you know, if you're getting out your Star Wars lightsabers and showing me how you clash swords together in a martial art class, there's no depth there, and I would never be a student of that. You want a seasoned person who's been around for 20, 30 years, who knows the depth of the martial arts. Otherwise, it's just a romper room. You're just playing around. And you're going to get your ass handed to you out on the street if you're training with someone who doesn't understand the depth and who hasn't been in fights, who hasn't done tournament fighting, who hasn't rolled on the ground to the point of tapping each other out with full-on resistance, who hasn't had someone pull out a knife or a gun in your face. Until that happens, you're playing. When that happens, and it has happened to me, all of the things I've mentioned, I've been through in my 20s and teens and 30s. So the depth is there. I have been through it. I've lived through it. Now, I'm not saying a young person can't be brilliant at martial arts. They can. But theoretical knowledge is not the same as experiential. Are you a Bujinkan Dojo? Juan asks. I saw you doing their opening prayer. It's not a prayer we're doing. It's to set your mind to the training. Shikin Haramitsu Daikomyo is a phrase, and it means, in English, may everything I do, may every encounter I have, every sound, every light, may it bring the enlightenment that I've always been seeking. May it answer the questions I've always wanted to know. It's a focal point. It brings the class to attention. It is not a prayer to some god or anything. It brings the class to attention. The clapping gets rid of the negativity of the day. It says, we're going to train, and I'm going to leave my problems and our egos and our anger outside of the dojo. Let's train. Boom, boom. Shikin Haramitsu Daikomyo. May I find enlightenment. May this class be the one class that answers that question. May the light bulbs go off in our head. And then you bow to you're not bowing to the gods, you're bowing to the generations before you, the masters, the previous people. You're bowing to your own grandparents, your own parents, the samurai of the past, the ninja of the past. the decades and the shrine. You're bowing to ancestry. You're bowing to tradition. And then you come up out of that bow and you give a nice bang. Let's train. That's the positive. Let's bring in the positive aspect of our training. Let's go. Let's be injury-free. Let's not hurt each other, but let's challenge each other and learn. That's what that thing is that you see us doing. It's not a prayer. It's just it's a let's go. Let's train. Budo, life is short. Let's attack it. Carpe diem. We are not a Bujinkan Dojo. I teach Bujinkan. I have a 6th degree in Bujinkan, so we teach it, but we're not a Bujinkan affiliated dojo. We are autonomous. What you see behind you is something I've created out of nothing. It's from it's amalgam of many other martial arts. All my different training as a child, to my teen years, to my 20s, 30s, 40s, all the teachers that I've met. This is a hybrid dojo. We are friends with everybody. I burn no bridges. I carry no torch in my backpack. I'm friends with the Bujinkan. I'm friends with the Jininkan, the Genbukan. You name it, we're friends. Taekwondo, Aikido, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, Karate, Krav Maga, you name it. Kung Fu, Eskrima. I have people that come to our dojo that train constantly. We have seminars here that we host from other martial arts in our facility. But we're not held down by any dogma. No beliefs, no political systems are allowed here. This is an open dojo. You come here, you leave it outside. And we are autonomous. An island, so to speak, but not an island where we don't learn and hop to other islands. But I have learned and I have found that my own business practice works best when we don't hang the flags on the wall of people that we know. It works better that way. Keeps everybody open-minded, keeps everybody from factioning off. It keeps everybody from allowing their ego to take over and representing their masters, so to speak. They come in here, we all are students, we all train. So it's nothing against those styles, it's that I'm part of each style. I hope that makes sense to you all. And that's a turnoff for some. Some want that backing, they want the politics, they want the money, they want the fame that comes with being associated. They want to go up the ranks of a certain organization. I don't like that at all, and I never have. So if you like that, don't train here. Train somewhere else. I'm babbling on. I hope I'm not boring you too much, but it's not often I get to sit and talk, you know? We're training a lot. Arya Stark, 2010, asks, what did you guys think of Game of Thrones? The eighth season? I know this is a complete dichotomy. What did you think of it? Did you like it? It's so popular now. It's become part of our culture. I thought Lord of the Rings was big. Game of Thrones took over everything. Wow. A lot of people hate Game of Thrones. They don't like George R. Martin's writing. They think after season 4, when he left and the D&D took over, those producers, that they ruined it. I kind of agree. You could have, this is my opinion, and those of you who don't like Game of Thrones are going to turn this off, but the writing is everything. If you look at the writing, season 1, 2, 3, why am I whispering? Season 1, 2, 3, and 4, the writing was brilliant. The political intrigue was what drew me in. I couldn't care less about the dragons and stuff. After that, it kind of went, it crashed, because they didn't use the source material anymore. They kind of made it up. I mean, they had bullet points, but it was just a sketch, an outline of what Martin wanted. And I know Martin didn't like season 8 and probably season 7 or 6 either. He has to say he likes it because he's getting the money, you know. It would be embarrassing to him. But yeah, season 8 was not good. It was every trope and everything that you didn't want to see on screen. Yeah, it was cool looking. Graphics were great. Production was great. Direction was good. Acting's fine, but writing was, ugh. Going back to martial arts. Listen to this question, going from Game of Thrones. Why do some people wear socks in your videos? What type of footwear is best for Aikido? I don't know. I don't train in Aikido, so usually they wear bare feet in Aikido. Ask your sensei or dojo. They'll tell you the protocol, the etiquette of what you should and shouldn't wear. We wear socks here because bare feet are gross, in my opinion. I've done my years of training where a bare foot is sticking in your face and it smells and this person didn't wash their feet. I'm not going to do that at age 49. Those days are over. We wash our mats constantly. We have the cleanest dojo in the tri-state area, and I like that. I don't like bacteria in my face. And there's nothing against you if you train bare feet. Go for it. But I'm beyond that. Beyond meaning I won't tolerate it. So if you train in my dojo, you wear socks on your feet. Or you wear soft indoor tabi. I've been wearing tabi boots since I was 10 years old. I wear them 10, 12 hours a day. I wear them at home, so I am an expert on tabi boots. Now, don't wear outdoor tabi in our dojo. They ruin the mats and they hurt your body, believe it or not. I don't know who started the outdoor Jika tabi fad and why it's still around. It's not good. When you wear cloth tabis, soft cotton tabi, you are allowed to make your body slide on the mats, which is very good for your taijutsu. It also doesn't hurt your joints. If you wear a rubber-soled shoe like a wrestling shoe, which we do allow here, we allow outdoor tabi and wrestling shoes. I don't wear them myself unless I'm going outdoors. They're outdoor shoes. But even if you wear a wrestling shoe with a plastic sole, when you step on a tatami mat, in this case, when you move, the shoe holds you to the mat and your body keeps moving. And you're giving these little micro tears in your joints constantly over the years, which will in some point affect your ankles, your feet, your knees, your hips, your back. All of these issues can come, I'm not kidding, from your footwear. Because think about it, how many thousands of reps you do and your knee stops because your shoe, your tabi boot with rubber sole stops on the mat. Boom. And your ankle's moving. Small micro tears over time accumulate. Not to mention it destroys your mats. All you do is scuff up your mat that we've paid thousands of dollars for. So I would prefer in my dojo you wear socks or indoor tabi shoes, which are cotton soled. I go to Japan and they don't allow rubber soles. You leave the dojo. It is not allowed in Japan. No bare feet and no rubber soled shoes. No wrestling shoes in Japan. You wear traditional cotton tabi. I don't care too much about it, although I'm going on because Arya Stark asked the question. But they wear socks because I don't like bare feet. Okay, I hope that helps. And again, this is what I do. Don't care about what we do here. Do what you want to do in your own dojo. If you want to have bare feet, go for it. If we do wrestling or jiu-jitsu, they wear bare feet all the time. But make sure please do yourself the service if you are training and you know you're going to have bare feet, please wash them before you train with someone. It is proper etiquette in all martial arts to stay clean. Wash your gi, wash your body, wash your hair, brush your teeth, whatever you need to do before class. Take a mint to make the training experience with your partners tolerable. Especially if you're doing headlocks. If you're doing headlocks that month, wash your armpits, okay? Love and Magic 333. I purchased your Kenjutsu DVD. Thank you, in March, and I loved it. Thank you. Will you be producing a Joe Staff Techniques DVD soon? Love and Magic, I don't know. We make DVDs for certain weapons, certain unarmed techniques that we find people out there ask for. The Joe staff, the 4-foot, 5-foot staff is not something that's very popular, although I love it. I think it's one of the best weapons in all of martial arts because it's just a long stick. And think about how many times you're sweeping a floor or you have a shovel or a stick of any kind, a ski pole, anything. It's a very practical weapon. So I think everyone should learn the Joe, and it has a million principles in there, and it helps your unarmed training when you learn weaponry. Don't ever think weaponry is ridiculous. Weaponry is very high-level training. And if you don't train in weapons in your martial arts, you're missing a ton of principles that you should adopt, in my opinion. We have like 12 DVDs out now. Sword, staff, unarmed combat, pistol defenses, mind training meditation, probably the most important one of all, half staff, bow, you name it, it's out there. And we will be continuing to film things. We just finished the Naginata, but the Jo may come next year. The next DVD we're going to produce is level 2 for our curriculum in the dojo here. We have 4 to 5 levels of martial arts that we teach here. We have level 1, which is called Striking the Tree, which is our level 1 curriculum. Although we've already changed it compared to when it was filmed 2 years ago. We've adapted some of the techniques. That DVD has how to roll on the ground, a lot of target striking, a lot of kicking, a lot of punching, and 12 of our basic techniques. And then level 2 DVDs coming next. That I'm going to do where people can download it, where it's going to be our, what we call water and fire elemental curriculum. And there's about 30 or 40 techniques there that we'll film as a reference to people who train here. If you buy it and you don't train here, it's going to look foreign, because if you don't train on the mats, those of you watching it, it's just like buying a book or a DVD. You're going to watch it a couple times, but you're not going to actually do it. So these DVDs, some of them are meant for in-house active students that are training with me, so that they, when we train in class, they go home and reference these techniques, and then it helps them pass their test and stuff like that. But you're welcome to buy them as entertainment, but you're not going to, unless you train with someone actively, you're only going to get so much out of it. Remember the order of training. Mat time is first. Active training, there's nothing that beats it. You have to have muscle memory. You have to get it in your body. That's first. And then after that, if you're by yourself, whatever reason you can't train, DVDs are okay and books are okay, but you're only going to learn so much. Because you're not physically doing it. I apologize, I'm ranting. ZenGod51 asks, given the socially toxic environment of the internet nowadays, do you ever hesitate uploading videos for fear of negative comments? I think the toxicity has been around forever. We're just seeing it more on the internet, because we're so plugged in, so to speak. It's ironic. I say this all the time. We go on the internet and we connect with people, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, because we want to feel connected to the world, yet the more that we are on the internet, the less connected we actually are. Because we're taking valuable time away from our life and our family and our friends. We should, this is my opinion, should be out there experiencing the world without screens of any kind. Don't need to take selfies to enjoy the day. We don't need to document everything in our life. I don't need to take pictures of my food in order for it to taste good. I don't have to show the world how perfect my life is with my wife and children, because the world knows it's bullshit, excuse my language, and they know that we all have issues, and that perfect photo of us on the beach is not representative of what really happens in life. We fight just outside of the frame of that photo. So, toxicity, when I upload a video or our school uploads a video, you're always going to have negative comments. It goes without saying. Right now, someone's down-ticking this video because they don't like me, they don't like my voice, they don't like my face, they don't like what we do, we're rambling on too much, or I bring about jealousy in them, or they're jealous of what we do here at the school and they can't train because there's a million reasons why people hit dislike or they send negative comments. A lot of the times people just want to feel connected to you, and the only power that they have is through their keyboard. This is what we call keyboard warriors. Everyone knows what they are. They don't physically do the work. They're armchair warriors. They like to sit down and tell you what to do and tell you what's wrong with what you're presenting to the world. But they don't have the balls and the guts to go out and do it themselves. Therefore, my only power is to hit dislike or like. You engage somehow. And a lot of them are just angry people. I'm so angry, but I have to hit dislike to show you how angry I am, or I have to comment on that video. Who cares? We're too busy. Yeah. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about because we've done it. I've done it. I've watched someone's video of something and I've hit dislike. Boom. I don't waste my time commenting because who cares? My opinion means nothing to the video. The video is the past. When someone uploads a video, it's in the past. Don't bother commenting. It's done. It's done. They're not going to change it for you. And if you're out just to ruin someone's day, you're a jerk. And something in your life is broken. Therefore, you have to project it onto what you're seeing on the screen. It's almost always the reason. We get very few negative comments, but when we do, it's stupid stuff. It's like, I'm not going to listen to you. If you're not actively training, my question would be, here's an example. If someone says, why aren't you doing that? You need to move your foot here, and that's junk what you're doing, and you wouldn't do that in real life. And I'm like, okay, I hear you. Who's your teacher? Teacher? How long have you been training? Are you training now? Well, no, but how old are you? Well, 19. 19, okay. Okay. How many years have you been training now? Well, I've been watching the internet for 2 years now, and I have 6 books on my shelf, and I have 3 DVDs. I'm an expert. Are you? Okay. Yeah. So you're seeing a moment on a video that you don't like, and you're telling us you should have done this or that or this. Don't you think if we've been training for 35 years that we already asked that question at some point? Don't you think that we have looked hell or high water how we could have done that technique, and all these what-if questions are answered off camera when we stop filming is when all the work is done. When you see a film or a video, you're only seeing a small section of training, less than 0.1% at any given time. But negative comments are not going to keep us from continuing our job here. Because the positive ones out there vastly overwhelm any negativity. And this goes for most channels. No human being out there is going to stop me from teaching or training or putting out my opinion. Life is too short for me to care what some keyboard warrior is trying to tell me how to live my life. And I think those of you out there know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, I'm not saying anything new. But the wolf does not suffer fleas. You've heard that saying before, and that's not an arrogant statement. The elephant does not suffer a flea bite. The elephant will listen to a fellow elephant. In other words, if you criticize what we do, that's fine. But you better back it up. And you better have the knowledge and the decades of training to tell me as a professional what to do. I can't imagine going to someone's job who they do it 10, 12 hours a day and going, no, you should have done that. You shouldn't be doing this at your job. It's like, you don't work here. You don't know anything. Bye-bye. But in martial arts especially, because we all feel like we're an expert at it, we have to put our 2 cents in, don't we? We have to try to engage with this. We have to hit that dislike button or that like button because we want to be part of it somehow. And this isn't just about martial arts, it's about life. Those of us who feel sad and lonely, and I've been there and I experienced that, or I'm angry inside for something in my past, I feel like I want to push that out there in social media somehow. And you see it, you go to Facebook, or my gosh, I'm not on Twitter, but I hear stories about the toxicity on Twitter because it's anonymity and you don't have to show your face. Nobody I know would walk in this dojo and say some of the things they said on YouTube. They wouldn't have the guts to do it to my face. But when you get a screen name, pick a name, you know. Very few people use their real name. That anonymity gives you a little bit of power to be able to spew hatred or to say something wonderful too. This all has a positive and negative. But you wouldn't say that in a conversation. Human dignity wouldn't allow that. We would shake hands. We would have a discourse that was very respectful, and we would go and work it out on the mat together, and we would become good friends. Only with the internet, only with text, can you spew violent hatred and kind of get away with it. And then you just end up banned off the channel. So my whole point to this, you guys, I think you'll agree, is life is short, and if you're seeing something on the internet that you don't like, don't subscribe to their channel. Don't watch. Don't buy the DVD. Don't buy the book. There are millions of other things you could be doing with your time rather than spending your time hating something or someone. Life is unbelievably short. It is only a few decades and then it's bye-bye. And the billions of years before you, without consciousness, it happens exactly the same. There's no more you, just your memory. And if you want to waste your time typing angry things or spewing hatred anonymously, I'm telling you guys, you're going to regret that when you get older. It's going to be something that you deeply regret. And most people, who are sending negative comments, have a lot of pain on the inside. Any psychologist will tell you that. And their only sense of power is text. It's typing. Whereas if you just turned off the computer, turned my face off, turned everything off, and just walked out into nature and sat and looked at a bird, that stillness would come back. Last question. Colin Wynn. Spelled Nguyen, Colin. Can you get good at martial arts from studying videos and your videos and techniques? Colin, to go back just a little bit, remember, the best training you guys can do and we can do is to stay active and to physically go to a dojo or a training club. We need to stop thinking about it and talking about it and actually go and do it if you're physically able. You know my opinion on money and time. Time and money are created. Don't use them as an excuse why you can't do something. And that's not just about trading, it's about education, everything. I create the time to train. I don't make excuses. When I say something, normally I follow through. I don't just say it as a lie and an excuse to get out of something. I say it and I do it, or I shut up and don't say anything at all. You can learn a little bit from my videos if you train. If you just have theoretical knowledge, it's not going to help you much, nor will a book. But if you actively train, you can figure out the movements and you can try to copy them and get something out of them, and they will benefit you. But nothing beats physical mat time. Nothing will beat you walking in that door and shaking my hand and say, Mr. Norcross, today is my first class and I'm excited to train. Will you train me? This goes to any school you go to, any martial art, any style you want to pick. Because you're not going to like this style. Some of you are going to want a Chinese style, whatever it is. Go for it. Life is short. Get the money, find the time, create the time to go out and train. Don't make excuses. Stop lying to yourself, is what I would tell people. Go out there and just seize life while it's still in us. Life isn't getting any easier. We're all getting older. We're all getting slower. We're all getting weaker. It's the nature of things. It's entropy. You can't fight the world. It will win. But my gosh, I can take a small piece of that world and I can run with it and make it my own. So let's end it on that note, that positive note that you have the power to create your reality that you want, or at least improve the situation that you're in. No place is too dark. No valley is too low. Ask for help if you need it. Train if you can. Read a book if you can, if you can't train physically or mentally. If you don't have the money, try for it. Sell something. Stop whatever vice it is that we're spending money on every month that we could be spending money on training. Rearrange the bullet points of importance in our life. So if training is number 10, let's make it number 3. At the same time, know that the more you put into your training, there will be negative consequences to that. Hopefully you have a supporting family and friends that will support what you do. If not, that's going to be a tough one, and that's a video for another day. But my friends, best of luck wherever you are. I really mean that from my heart. I want you to succeed in life and be happy. I think that's a tall order for all of us, but it's a goal that we should all strive for. Until next time, we'll see you soon, and good training to you and your fellow friends. Bye-bye.